Today we are doing the ultimate commercial lease review, meaning we're going to go through common terms and items you might find in a commercial lease, what they mean, what's normal, what is not normal. Hey there, this is attorney Sarah Holmes of Holmes Business Law P.C. We are a business and trademark law firm that also offers general counsel subscription services to clients. Now, most people in their life have rented some type of residential property before, whether it's renting an apartment, renting a house, even a vacation rental. Most people have experience with residential. On the residential side, you will find many consumer protections. This is because it's a people's place of residence. They don't want people to be homeless. And oftentimes the power imbalance is not level between a landlord and someone just renting a home or apartment. On the commercial side, that's completely different, and those dynamics are not the same anymore. In a commercial lease transaction, the parties tend to be both business owners, and therefore the law will view them both as sophisticated enough to be able to negotiate the terms that they want, such that there's not consumer laws in place to protect commercial tenants. So whether it's actually true or not about the bargaining power, that's how the law presumes it, and that's why you won't find laws to protect commercial tenants. Therefore, anything that goes into your commercial lease and anything that you sign off on is largely going to be upheld by a court because you were presumed to have enough negotiating power or consult with competent legal counsel to know what it is that you're getting into before you sign it. So with that said, we're going to break down some common things that you're going to find in a commercial lease and explain what they are and whether they're normal or sometimes out of the ordinary things. First, obviously, is the rate of the rent. So that's going to be something that's listed in your lease. Many commercial leases are actually priced by square foot. So your lease may say something like $17 per square foot and that you are renting 1,000 square feet. It should be rentable square footage in your lease, not the total square footage. Why is that an important distinction? It can be really important, especially if you are doing something like a build out in a space. So if you are to go rent a shell that's not yet done, that square footage is going to be very different potentially than the square footage you wind up with once all the walls, any columns, any type of supports are put into that structure. And when your rent is based by square footage, even some minor discrepancies in how many square feet you're renting can add up to significant dollars over the course of a month and years in a commercial lease. So rentable square footage is very important. And then whether your rent is broken down by square foot or by monthly amount. Now, the next important thing is how is that rent being calculated? So there's two types of ways that landlords will typically charge rent. One is what's called triple net. You'll see NNN. And the other is gross. Gross is what most tenants are going to want. Gross means that you are shown a rental rate per month. Let's say your rent is $2,000 per month, right? You will pay $2,000 a month in rent. Now you might pay some extras such as utilities or your internet, but ultimately your rent is truly $2,000 a month. When you are on a triple net lease, NNN, that means you're given a base amount per month. So in an NNN, your $2,000 a month is simply the base rent, and they're going to be adding the triple nets on top of that every month. So that's not really what you're ultimately going to pay. What are the triple nets? The triple nets are things like the landlord's property taxes, the landlord's insurance for the building, and common area maintenance or CAM. And now you won't get charged all of those things. So let's say you're moving into an office building that's like 50,000 square feet and you're just renting 1,000 square feet. Does that mean you're paying all $30,000 of property taxes? No, it does not, or insurance. It means that you are going to pay a percentage of those items based on the square footage that you occupy in the overall building. So also a line item in that lease should be something like your, what do we use, 1,000 square feet? Your 1,000 square foot space is overall 1% of this building's floor space, right? So that they know in the triple nets how much of the triple nets they're going to bill back to you every month, whether it's 1% or 5%, whatever that works out to be. So in that example, when your rent is $2,000 a month and you have triple nets added on top of that, the landlord's taxes, insurance, and common area maintenance may come out to another $500 a month, right? So your true rent per month is really $2,500 a month. Plus, you're still probably paying your separate utilities. Now, common area maintenance, that's something that has to get addressed in the lease. And what is that? Because if you're in a triple net lease, that's going to get billed back to you. Common area maintenance is exactly like it sounds. If you are going into a building where there are other rental units, there are what's called common areas. And this is things like stairwells, lobbies, maybe there's a back premises, maybe there's a front walkway or congregating area, benches, whatever there are, whatever those common areas are, somebody has to maintain those, right? Somebody has to clean them. Somebody has to make sure that things are in good order. If it's outside, someone has to make sure the snow is being removed there. All that somehow has to get maintained. The landlord maintains that, and then they bill those charges back to the tenants, again, based on what percentage of overall building square foot that tenant occupies within the building. So that would get billed back to you in a commercial lease on a triple net as well. There should also be some type of description of the premises that you're moving into, such that it gives a suite number, the address, where it's located within the building, and then if you have any access to other areas. So for example, if you're moving into a first floor retail space and you also have basement access for storage, your description of the premises would say first floor, 1,200 square feet plus basement or plus basement access. If your access to that basement is exclusive, meaning you're the only person that's going to be access that basement, that should also be outlined in the lease. Then your exclusive access to the basement is yours and yours alone, so you know what your rights are. There's also going to be a line in the lease about what use and purpose you're allowed to use the space for. Typically, once a landlord rents you the space, they won't allow you to just simply open another type of business in it if that one doesn't work out. So let's say you go to open a cafe and maybe you're in a 5-year lease. After 2 years, the cafe is not working out and you're like, I'm going to open a daycare. That is not the same use that they allowed you to open when you signed the lease, and you're not going to be able to change that without going through the landlord, maybe some zoning and some other things as well. So when you look at the use, be careful and mindful that it's expansive enough for what you intend to do, and just know that you wouldn't be able to easily make major pivots in your business in that same space if you had to down the line. The other things that should address are the taxes and insurance. If those are things getting billed back to you every month as part of a triple net rate, it should have what those are in the lease. Now, it may be something that is adjusted on an annual basis, and there will be adjustment language in there as well. But before you sign the lease, you should know what those numbers are, especially if you are paying for them. Another big area of importance is who is responsible for the maintenance and repair of the space. Now, in a residential lease, most people know that a tenant is not responsible for maintaining, your apartment other than, don't ruin it or don't be knocking holes in the walls, right? On a commercial lease, that's totally different. The landlord is normally only responsible for the 4 walls and the roof, meaning the tenant, the commercial tenant, is going to be responsible for maintaining and repairing everything within their 4 walls or that services that space. So that could be things like HVAC, the electrical, the plumbing, big expensive things potentially. The other area you want to look at very closely is the HVAC. Is HVAC within your unit? Is it something that's on the roof and serves multiple units? Because you might find that in the lease you are responsible for maintaining HVAC and actually replacing an HVAC system if it were to break down. So if you move into a space and the air conditioning or heating unit goes the next month and you're responsible for replacing it, that could be a very expensive thing that you have to do very early on in your occupancy, and you want to be aware of these things before you agree to them or be able to negotiate around them. Next is if there are things to be done before you move in. Maybe the landlord has to do some construction work, maybe the tenant has to do some work. All those things should be outlined very carefully in the lease, usually in an exhibit. There will also be a section that has landlord remedies in the event the tenant defaults on the lease, like you stop paying rent, you move out, and some of those things can be very bad. It could be things like confession of judgment, which is an automatic judgment. There could be rent acceleration clauses. All sorts of terrible things could happen if you default on this lease, and you want to read those and understand those very carefully. Finally, there might be a section at the end which are rules and regulations for the building. This might be things like, hey, if you bike into work, you can't leave your bikes in the hallways, or these are the hours during which we supply lighting to the hallways, or This is kind of what janitorial will do for you. That could be in the rules and regs, and you want to read those very carefully because those are really also incorporated as part of your lease. And if there's something in there you don't like, you definitely want to negotiate around that. So to the extent you need some help with a commercial lease, help interpreting it, help negotiating it, feel free to reach out to our office. Our number is 215-482-0285. Thanks.